You don't always need an external enemy to destroy you. Often, the sharpest weapon pointed at you is your own tongue. Right now, somewhere, a person is replaying your very words, preparing to turn them into the knife that cuts you down. That sarcastic joke you tossed casually, that vulnerable moment when you opened up, that one detail you thought was harmless, each has been catalogued, remembered, and is being reshaped into ammunition. We live under the illusion that once words leave our mouths, they vanish. We believe time erases conversations. We comfort ourselves with the idea that people forget. But this is one of the greatest lies of modern living. No word ever disappears. Every phrase has a lifespan far longer than we imagine. History itself proves it: leaders undone by a careless admission, kingdoms shattered by an overheard whisper, friendships burned to ash by an offhand remark. The ancients understood something that today's world has ignored. The mouth is the most dangerous weapon a person possesses. It exposes secrets. It betrays hidden fears. It arms others with the tools of your own destruction. Niccolo Machiavelli dedicated his life to understanding the dynamics of control and power, and his ultimate lesson was clear: those who discipline their speech shape their destiny, while those who don't are enslaved by their own voice. Over the next few moments, I'll reveal 10 psychological traps that transform your mouth into your greatest betrayer. These traps are universal, but only the wise recognize them early enough to avoid self-destruction. Anger is the fastest route to self-sabotage. Rage tricks you into believing you're powerful, but in reality, it lowers your guard and makes you a prisoner to your emotions. When fury takes over, your mind shuts down its filters. Suddenly, everything you've been holding back, resentments, hidden truths, unspoken criticisms, erupts uncontrollably. The person provoking your anger isn't your enemy in that instant. They're your interrogator. They've uncovered a shortcut to uncover your true self, bypassing your defenses. You think you're expressing power, but all you're doing is handing over a transcript of your vulnerabilities. Rage doesn't just reveal who you are, it teaches others how to control you. The moment they learn what sets you off, they own you. They can push those buttons at will, watching you lose control again and again. Worst of all, once the words leave your mouth in anger, they never fade. They are remembered, quoted, and replayed long after you've calmed down. Machiavelli reminded us that true command begins with self-command. Power doesn't mean never feeling anger. It means never letting others see you enslaved by it. Those who master rage privately rise. Those who explode publicly hand their enemies endless ammunition. Victory intoxicates more deeply than wine. After winning, most people crave recognition. They want others to admire their cleverness, to applaud their triumph, to hear every detail of how they outmaneuvered obstacles. But that hunger for validation is poison. Every story you tell of your triumph is a lesson for your rivals. Every detail of your strategy becomes a free map for anyone who wants to copy or outdo you. The applause you chase costs you your future victories because you've already revealed your playbook. Those who thrive in silence maintain mystique. Those who talk too much about their accomplishments make themselves predictable. Remember this: your competitors are not cheering for you, they're studying you. They don't admire your brilliance, they're dissecting it. The great rulers of history learned that silence is stronger than explanation. Mystery sustains power, while overexposure dissolves it. The true master celebrates victories internally and lets others speculate about how success was achieved. Your future depends more on what you keep hidden than on what you reveal. Alcohol doesn't invent new thoughts. It erases the barriers that usually guard your tongue. Every drink lowers the gates of restraint. Each sip weakens the lock on your secrets. Before long, the bottle has transformed you into a willing informant, spilling information that might have remained hidden for years. Manipulators understand this better than anyone. They don't need to torture you. They only need to keep your glass full. A comfortable chair, some pleasant company, and enough liquor, and suddenly you're confessing fears, disclosing plans, or admitting failures you'd never share while sober. They will remember every word you spoke in your haze, while you may not even recall the conversation. That vulnerable admission about your relationship might resurface in court. That offhand comment about your business challenges may become a weapon in your competitor's arsenal. Alcohol is the great undoer of kings and commoners alike. Machiavelli taught that discipline sometimes means cruelty, not toward others, but toward yourself. If you cannot be ruthless in guarding your impulses while intoxicated, you will live to regret the consequences of a single night's indiscretion. Stress is one of the most accurate X-rays of human character. People believe they know themselves, but under extreme pressure, they discover a different reality, often uglier and weaker than imagined. Deadlines, financial strain, relationship troubles. These forces strip away the polished mask. In moments of desperation, people confess to weaknesses, fears, and failures they thought they'd never share. They think they're seeking help, but what they're really doing is handing over intelligence. The problem is that those closest to you, family, friends, colleagues, often become the record keepers of these moments. Later, that vulnerability may be weaponized against you. Stress doesn't only expose, it teaches others how to break you again. Once they know where you crack, they can apply pressure strategically in the future. Machiavelli emphasized that it is better to inspire fear than to inspire contempt. And nothing creates contempt faster than watching someone unravel under stress. True leaders transform pressure into proof of their resilience. While others collapse, they adapt. Pressure, in their hands, becomes an instrument to expose the weakness of rivals instead of themselves. One of the most dangerous manipulation strategies doesn't come through threats, it comes through sympathy. Skilled deceivers present themselves as fragile, sharing carefully curated stories of hardship. They appear broken, inviting you to be their savior. In your eagerness to help, you open up. You share personal stories, vulnerabilities, and secrets that seem safe in the moment. But all you've done is give them tools to control you later. Genuine vulnerability is raw, messy, and uncalculated. Performed vulnerability is smooth, strategic, and rehearsed. Learn to see the difference. The predator cloaks itself in pain, so you let your guard down. In your kindness, you become their pawn. Every secret you reveal in solidarity is stored away as leverage. Machiavelli warned that men are easily deceived because they crave to feel needed. Protect yourself by giving help without giving information. Show compassion without opening your defenses. True power knows how to support without surrendering secrets. Every social group, from offices to friendships, runs on an invisible economy, the trade of information. Gossip is not harmless chatter, it is currency. Every time you reveal a private detail or share a story that isn't yours, you are participating in a transaction. And, like most bad traders, you're probably selling far more than you're buying. The rules are simple. Information flows upward to the powerful, while betrayal flows downward to the weak. The one who listens carefully but reveals nothing accumulates influence. The one who talks freely without collecting in return becomes powerless. Gossipers expose more than others, they expose themselves. Every time you repeat something confidential, you announce that you cannot be trusted. Every time you indulge in the social currency of secrets, you brand yourself as unreliable. Machiavelli said that men fail because they cling to how things ought to be, not how they truly are. You may believe gossip is bonding. The truth is that it's warfare. Your words are weapons being redistributed across the room. If you want to dominate this economy, become a collector, not a spender. Listen widely, speak rarely. Let others destroy their reputations while you quietly rise. When authority challenges you unfairly, the instinct is to fight back. You want to defend yourself, demand justice, and prove your worth. But this instinct is a trap. Power rarely seeks explanations. It seeks obedience. Most challenges from those above you are not real conflicts, they're examinations. They want to see if you can remain composed, professional, and strategic under fire. If you argue, protest, or explain too much, you fail. Your words become evidence of your immaturity. Your defense becomes your downfall. Authority operates on a different plane from fairness. The respect you crave is not granted because you demanded it. It's earned through results. Justice doesn't exist in these exchanges. Only perception does. By speaking, you provide them with proof of your limitations. By staying composed, you provide them with proof of your strength. Machiavelli taught us that politics is divorced from morality. The outrage you feel at injustice is irrelevant to the mechanics of power. The wise know when silence is their greatest shield. Your path is straightforward. Either you learn to bend with these rules, or you allow them to break you. The clever do not waste time arguing with authority. They maneuver around it. They answer unfair treatment, not with heated words, but with disciplined action. They let their performance speak louder than their protests. They know that an unjust judgment today can transform into tomorrow's chance to outshine, provided it is handled with calculation. If you need a reminder, hold this thought. Results are the only true proof of value. When trust is shattered and relationships collapse, you often find yourself holding dangerous information, knowledge of secrets, fears, and hidden flaws. The impulse to reveal these details, to strike back with their own weaknesses, feels like justice. But exposing private information as revenge is self-destruction, disguised as victory. Every bond, whether personal or professional, is an exchange of intelligence. You hold their vulnerabilities, but they also hold yours. The moment you betray their confidences, you send a message not just to them but to the world. You cannot be trusted with sensitive knowledge. Potential allies, employers, and partners are always observing how you behave when bridges burn. Your attempt at vengeance becomes their warning label about your character. The worst consequence is not the damage you inflict on the betrayer. It's the permanent scar you leave on your own reputation. Machiavelli once remarked that punishments should be delivered swiftly, while benefits should come gradually. What he meant was this: if you must retaliate, do it in ways that cannot be traced back to broken confidences. The true strategist saves information for leverage, not for petty release. Secrets kept in silence are worth infinitely more than secrets spilled in anger. The masters of power do not reveal, they reserve. They let their silence become both shield and sword. Remember this mantra: silence itself can be revenge. Whenever people feel insecure or inadequate, their first instinct is to overcompensate with words. They talk louder, longer, and with more bravado in an effort to convince the world and themselves that they are competent. But this theatrical performance convinces no one. Instead, it exposes their desperation. Insecurity speaks in over-explaining, constant name-dropping, and interruptions meant to prove importance. Yet every attempt to assert confidence through speech only highlights the absence of genuine confidence. The more you try to demonstrate expertise verbally, the more obvious it becomes that you lack the calm authority of someone who doesn't need to perform. Authentic skill requires no announcement. True confidence is silent, steady, and unbothered by immediate recognition. Those who repeatedly broadcast their importance actually hand others the keys to manipulate them. Once people know that your insecurity compels you to prove yourself, they can trigger that weakness at will, leading you to overcommit, overshare, or overstep. Machiavelli wrote that nothing great is achieved without risk, but the greatest risk of all is letting insecurity dictate your behavior. By fearing the perception of weakness, you create actual weakness. Those who rise above this trap allow their work to construct their reputation. They are comfortable being underestimated in the short term because they know performance will eventually silence doubt. Their actions, not their words, carve their legacy. Under pressure, when expectations weigh heavily, many people seek immediate relief by making promises they cannot deliver. Words of commitment feel like a quick solution. They satisfy the audience, calm the demand, and postpone the problem. But promises are not solutions, they are debts. Each promise is a loan taken against your credibility, with interest that compounds every day until the debt is paid or your reputation collapses. Overpromising is the refuge of the desperate, the language of those who cannot solve the problem in the present. Instead of delivering real results, they build castles in the future, castles that usually never materialize. The danger is that promises feel easy because they require no upfront effort. They cost nothing at the moment they are spoken, but the payment comes later in broken trust, lost opportunities, and destroyed reliability. Every unfulfilled commitment becomes permanent evidence that your word cannot be trusted. Every failed guarantee teaches others that you trade reputation for temporary relief. Machiavelli warned that those who build on the will of the masses are building on mud. Promises are that mud, unstable, shifting, and easily washed away. People may want to believe you, but when the truth surfaces, both the believer and the promise maker sink together. The wise protect themselves by committing sparingly. They say less, do more. They understate their intentions and then outperform expectations, creating a reputation of reliability that no promise could ever equal. Your mouth has been quietly sabotaging you for years, and most people don't even realize it. Every conversation is a battlefield disguised as casual talk. Each exchange is either strengthening your position or eroding it. The 10 scenarios we've explored are not rare, they are daily traps waiting for you. The difference between those who rise and those who collapse is not intelligence or luck, it is awareness. Those who win understand that words are weapons and silence is armor. Machiavelli recognized a truth that still applies centuries later. Life is rarely won by the loudest voice. It is secured by those who guard their tongue until the precise moment when speech serves a purpose. Every sentence you utter either builds your fortress or leaves cracks in its walls. Every silence either protects your power or costs you influence. We live in a time where nothing disappears. Every word can be replayed, recorded, or remembered indefinitely. In such a world, verbal discipline becomes the most valuable form of strength. Success is not about talking more, it's about talking better, and often about talking less. The giants of history did not win because they spoke endlessly. They won because they spoke strategically. They whispered when others shouted. They concealed when others confessed. They mastered the art of timing, withholding, and restraint. So now the choice is in front of you. Will you continue to let careless words undermine your progress? Or will you take control of the one weapon that can either build your empire or dismantle it from within? Will you feed your adversaries with free intelligence, or will you guard your thoughts like a vault? Your future depends on this decision. Remember this unshakable law. In a world where most cannot control their speech, the one who disciplines their tongue commands their destiny.